everybody, how are you doing? This is SJ Swanaswandji Singh Rahan reporting for April 12th, 2022 time about 12:17 hours UDC. So today I'm going to discuss briefly about how the world has transpired and what has gone with this whole situation of Ukraine-Russia war prolonging into second month. And thereon we are also going to discuss how things are happening for this whole world. A lot of different things are going forward which we are not anticipating, which we didn't even comprehend, but things are not into the usual plane of things which are supposed to happen. There's big change coming up. There's a lot of things which are already into pipeline, which is going to take shape in a different way, which we have never expected for humanity. Also, we see how the world is reacting towards the end of pandemic, which is what they so call. And I don't think there is end of pandemic any moment which is seen at least 2-3 years down the line, because there are a lot of things which are going beneath the surface. So let's quickly jump back to what's going on with Ukraine-Russia war. Well, it has dragged on for almost 40 days, and now since February 24th, initial launch of aggression from Russia over Ukraine, it has transpired into 41-42 days, and still Russia has not been able to make any major move or major victory over the Ukraine. And Ukraine, with the complete strength and backing of NATO in the covert plan, and also with other nations, especially Canada, US, Australia, UK, Germany, all are trying to push Ukraine to regain its sovereignty and continue the resistance for the Russia aggression. So what are we going to see, how it's going to pan out? Let's quickly roll over. So this is going to be my third video from the original video which I released in February. Then I did it in March, late of March. Then I am doing it in April also. So this is very tumultuous time for this whole world, because of this situation is still not resolved, and I don't think Russia is in any mood to back off or back down. The other issue is that despite the UNSC and UNHRC voting, Russia has still not paid any heed to united call of letting down the aggression and let the Ukraine live its life, lead its life. I think this is becoming more complicated than being complex. And I guess if you look at the whole situation, look at the democratic nations, look at the other nations which are trying to form the right alliance, or you can say the alignment, before the actual World War III situation is seen before the world. So this is, you can call a preemptive strike, or you can call it's like a precursor to what is supposed to get built up. And I think Russia took it as a preemptive strike because it was seeing NATO at its doorstep, and it saw Ukraine falling into the hands of what is Poland or Austria or other are seen. Whereas NATO was not in a mood right now to go so forward to forge the relationship of taking completely Ukraine in its course. However, things have gone down, spiraled down into the really worst situation now. And I think Russia should be backing off. If not, it has already made its mind, because time ahead is not at all favorable for the war. War is always very costly. Nobody wants to fight a war during this day and time. And you have seen already how the commodity prices have simply shot up. You can see the prices of the oil. I think still it's going to spike when the things escalate. So this is a very bizarre situation right now. It's becoming very complicated. On the other hand, if you look at the efforts US and Canada, especially the Western nations, are paying to do some sort of alignment, getting all the nations together and have people start condemning Russia for its aggressiveness. I think recently from yesterday, which is April 11th, 2+2 dialogue was opened up by US with the India, and Mr. Modi, PM of India, and Mr. Biden, President of the US, had virtual meeting. And still, if we see today, they have not conclusive results of it. In fact, the US administration has been reluctant, or has been avoiding India to directly squarely blame India for being silent or observant or not condoning this whole thing. And there is something going on beyond what we can comprehend, and I guess the India side has the edge over this conflict because it's going to get big deals from Russia, not from the defense side, but also it's getting already the deals from oil. So India is already 2 or 3% importer of Russia oil, but I think for last 2 months since the war started, India has been benefiting a lot by remaining silent or being siding with the Russia on this conflict and not completely siding with Ukraine, except the part that it is trying to give some benefits in tidbits as a humanitarian aid or some medical supplies to Ukraine. It's dumping some of the supplies, but that's not what the actual game is. If you see the import of the oil, the gain of the oil India is getting by getting ultra cheap oil from the Russia, it's getting much more than it's giving. So you can say it's like a trade. So India is doing a trade in this war, as most of the nation do when the war goes on. They all try to get the benefit some or the other way. So Russia is going marching forward, and Ukraine right now has always been on resistance and has been still telling that all the troops are available. And President Zelensky, if you see all his recent his briefs has been that they are prepared for everything, and they're going to not make Russia look at easy, like an easy takeaway, like Crimea, which was in 2014-15 build up. But now this situation from Crimea to Ukraine is looking as a pattern for the Western nations, and they want to align all the democratic nations to now give the final stand. So they want all the democratic nations, whether it's Indonesia, Malaysia, New Zealand, Australia, even to that expect Pakistan and India. That's why they're opening this dialogue with India, that what are your stakes now? You be clear now, or else you stay silent, or you are going to be on the other side. India is specifically of interest because the US wants India, because a lot of its IT exports are occurring from India. A lot of investments from US is occurring towards India, and I think US will take that leverage to pressurize India to either condemn Russia or to stop buying the oil, or S-400 deliveries, because S-400 delivery from Russia was also a game changer for US-India relationship. And since then, the ST1 clearance, COMCASA, and SPAC, SPAC has all become useless. These agreements are carrying no value for India now. US is still trying to be silent or somewhat persuasive towards India. For some reason, it's not opening up exactly what and how it wants India to condemn the Russia aggression. And this is something which is going to go on, folks, and I think all the nations, specifically the NATO alliance nations, are going to be very observant about how these nations behave now, because this is the alliance, this is the final alliance before, if things go out of the hand, then we are seeing World War III ahead of us. I think that is my original prediction. If you see in June 24, 2019, I predicted #MAY 2020 WW3. So my original prediction was in May or in June 2019, saying May 2020 WW3. So you can Google search that under the SJS Rana, or it was done from my article post onewordpress.wordpress.com. So I've been always alerting a word ahead of time, and I see we are not out of the woods yet, and I still see there can be escalation because more worse is yet to come. Okay, moving on with the sun, you can see bizarre scenario with the sun. 2987 has been spraying a lot of CMEs, and filament has been busting. In fact, on April 11th, there was a major bust of the filament facing directly towards the earth, and it's basically expected on April 14th to hit directly on earth. So we're going to see aurora borealis on the north of continent, specifically the America and the Asia continent. We'll see those. Also, we are going to see a lot of different problems, because if sun is becoming so active, and it has been very active recently, starting from 29th March, where I predicted already that March 29 onwards, sun is going to behave very differently and it's going to be very active. So all these things are lining up to that extent where I have been foreseeing it, I have been predicting it, folks. Now, all I want to say next is that there are things which are going to take shape now for pandemic, for the Earth shield, for the polar shift, and for the eventuality of this war, which is going to be very decisive. And a month down the line of April, it is very important month to note. And how this is going to pan out is how we're going to see the world ahead of us, which will be for 2 3 years down the line, and if not less. So I want to tell that this is something which we all got to watch. Also, another thing is there are global ratings going on for GDP. All nations are realigning their GDP because there is some recovery now after pandemic has subsided a bit. India is already fighting many battles on its GDP. It's already downgraded by Moody. Moody's trying to now look at the emerging market of South Africa instead of India. Because see, with this US talking big time with the India right now, even Blinken, the Secretary of Defense, has been talking with the India military chiefs that what are your future, what are your stakes with this Russia aggression, and if the US is not able to find India of worth value, then I think they may have the change in stance of investors from US and Western world shift to South Africa, which is what I predict ahead. Okay, because if you look at it, recently the US administration has restricted all the financial institutions of the US to have any sort of connection with the Russia bailout plan or buying the debt of Russia. And that's one of the biggest move which has taken shape in 2 3 weeks before April 11th. But now they're looking at India. If India is not going to be cooperative with the US, I think sanctions are on the way, directly or indirectly, and they will move away all the investors from India to South Africa, because South Africa is looking very prominent. Moody is looking to upgrade it to buy, and I think a lot of other credit agencies are going to look seriously South Africa as an investment forum. So shifting from India to South Africa or diverging to some other nations is on the cards, folks. You must be prepared for it. So moving ahead, we'll see how the pandemic with the latest new variant Omicron XC has been surfacing around. Folks, I keep telling the same thing again and again. As long as these pedophiles, predators are enjoying multiple host body, you will find these pathogens, mutations circling around the whole globe. So you should not be wondering about this. You should take it very normal, as if you take the pedophiles and predators population very normal. Because in India, it's a very common thing. Citing a predator, a pedophile is like every day you see them. Many of them are there around. And that's why India is also known as a rape capital of the world, because most of the gang rapes or teamwork rape, sexual battery occurs in India. India has been contributing for the last 10 years the maximum sexual battery towards the world saga of this sexual rapes and sexual molestation or exploitation, or you can say entrapment, enslavement. And this is the reason why India is still under the warning of the travel agencies from the US. US has issued last month the travel warning, caution towards the India because of this threat of terrorism and also the sexual predators which are very active in India. In fact, the metaphor games of India are so popular that every neighborhood, every city is now hosting these metaphor game mafia organized criminals who are racing, honking on streets and delivering females at night hours. Especially at night hours, especially you will see that. I see it around in my locality where I live here in my neighborhood, which is phase 3B2 Sasnagar Mohali, 130-50 miles north of New Delhi. And I see them every often. At night hours, they'll deliver females. So all these racing, honking agents, trafficking agents will be very active. But recently, we have a good phenomena because of the election. Punjab, especially in North India, Punjab has seen change of leadership. It has now been under the AAP, known as Aam Aadmi Party, and specifically Chief Minister Mr. Maan has been very, very prominent, has been very proactive in cracking down these criminals. So these mafia, these organized criminals are the direct in path of crackdown, which Mr. Maan has been stressing ever since he has taken the office, which is a very positive step for Punjab. I think the organized criminals are quite prevalent in here. They're doing all sort of scamming, from trafficking females, girls at night hours, racing, honking agents. You can see all around. They'll keep parking their park around somebody else's house. The impersonators, imposters are very popular in Punjab. Punjab is known for that. Pedophiles and imposters and impersonators. It is becoming very popular, and a lot of phone spoofing is happening. In India, recently there was a crackdown in Delhi, Gurgaon, where biggest call center fraud was seen, which were duping the US and Canadian citizens using the fake call centers, or you can call it the phone spoofing technology, where they would simply call the US citizens and fool them, befooling them with something like, okay, you are under this litigation, or you're under this threat, you are under this and that. So that sort of imposters, impersonators have been seen. CRS scam is quite common from India, which the US and the Canadian authorities have been cracking down on India imposters and impersonators. So folks, moving on, quickly we'll see how the GDP will come up now for the global GDP, which has been seen about 2 or 3 trillion loss every year since 2020. Now 2022 going forward, if the recovery is there, then it should be better. Also, next very important thing which is going on right now is the gun control and the ghost guns. So Biden yesterday was very pleased to announce the new rulings, because this is definitely, folks, a big menace, and this is going to be the first thing the organized criminals in America would like to have hands on ghost guns. So these guns are basically produced by the 3D printers, and they are available all across the internet world, where they can download the schema and they can simply develop at their home, and or these big organizations, the cartels, or you can say the mafia, can develop these guns and they can deliver it online sales or to everybody. And this is the problem, because it doesn't have any license, it doesn't have any serial number, there's nothing, there's no trace, no tracking, and that's a big problem. So the regulation has been put in effect by Biden administration recently. It's a good step, I applaud this step. The gun violence should be controlled. Recently also there were many instances of violences, gun violences in the US. Also it's going on over here in India as well, and even over here in local where I live, Sasnagar, Mohali, we saw it 2-3 days back. There was gun violence neighborhood, which is phase 5, and they're still tracking out which organized criminals are threatening normal average citizens, or lack of gunshot violence should be avoided. So moving on, folks, ahead I see for April that it's going to be very different joyride. You'll see a lot of fluctuations in the stock market, but on the positive end, after the April, May, we should see something going on in the stock market, because Ukraine war, Russia war has to come to some conclusion, folks. This can't be going on forever. Russia will be deciding very soon. I think 2 weeks are very critical, and if we see some big move ahead from Russia, then Ukraine would be in a problem, or else I think Ukraine is resisting well, and I give all the kudos how the President Zelensky has been requesting the world community to help. A lot of arms and ammunition have been flowing to Ukraine. A lot of refugees crises are there, folks. I understand this is a humanitarian crisis, and all I can say is everybody should welcome with open arms these refugees. If I tell you, I'm always there, open, you can contact me. If there is a problem, I can always register a family or so. And this is something which every world community should open arms and let the refugees come and settle down till the time this war is settled, because something has to come out of this war. Even if the Russia has to go with some dialogue, some truce, or some back off, or some you can say pause, then it's a good step. But if it continues for a little bit more while, I think then the big players will move in, which is my prediction. So UK, Australia, Canada, US will all start moving in, folks, in a big time. So it's just a matter of 2 or 3 more weeks. Sit back, relax, and see how it moves on. So anyways, folks, this is going to end my session. It's already taken almost 18 plus minutes, and I'll sign off now, and you can watch the rest of the series in the screenshots form, which is going to cover a lot of topics. So for now, I sign off. It is about 12:22 hours UTC, April 12th, 2022. Okay, bye. This is Surendrajit Singh Rana. I'm signing off, folks. Take care. Have good mind, body, spirits.